did a 2 mile and 9:55, 2 5:15 miles, 3 800s and 2 28, 6 400s, some weights and a 4-mile run. Tuesday, 6 400s, 10 140s, 5 200s, and a few more other things I didn't have room to write down. Wednesday, 50 400s at 69 seconds each, starting one every 3 minutes. Thursday, 18 800s at 2:45. And why 2:45? That's a 5:30 mile pace. Why didn't you just go out and run 9 miles at 5:30 mile pace? Why break it into that? And then Friday, there's fartlek session on the track, and Saturday a race. I guess that's how we should train, because that was Jim Ryan when he was 17 years old. He was a world record holder. I'm a very close friend of Jim's. He's given me these things. He showed me. And he never got hurt. And I asked his coach, these are swim workouts, right? Those of you know swimming? 54, 50 400s, that's like doing 5100s in the pool. That's not a bad swim workout. I asked Timmy, his coach, and I think this was okay for Jim Ryan, because he didn't get hurt doing it. I asked Timmy, did you have other guys do this? He said, yeah, I had 34 of them. He said, but one guy, they had their own speed. They didn't all do the same speed. He said, but one guy only did 40 of these 400s. He said, I knew he was never going to be any good. That's what he said. I mean, you never know. You know, and here's a guy that was even worse. Held our high school 5,000 meter record, 13:43, for 30 years. I asked him, what's your single longest run, Jerry? He said 66 miles. He did that several times. He ran from his building in the state of Washington over into the state of Idaho at a ranger station and back. I said, man, you must have drank a lot. He said, yeah, if the ranger was there, I got a drink. He ran whenever he was awake, basically. He told me there were times. No, really, there were times in college that he would go to the bathroom at 1 in the morning. He had to go to the bathroom. And he's in there going to the bathroom. He said, boy, I'm awake. I might as well go get 10 miles in. He would. Just go out for a 10-mile run. 360 miles he ran one week. 300 he averaged for 6 weeks. And 240 he averaged per week for 1 year. I guess that's the way we should train. Because he was good. Real good. You can't just do something because it's been done before. You got to follow some principles of training, and principle number 1 is the body reacts to stress. If you stress your body, you get a reaction. If you all got up and ran around this building, you'd have a reaction. You'd be breathing harder, heart would be beating, your blood pressure would go up, your vessels would open up to let the blood flow out. You might feel a little discomfort in the legs. And if you did that every day, you'd have that same feeling every day. But over time, you'd have a second reaction, and that second reaction would be that you would build up strength to combat that stress. So your heart wouldn't be as stressed anymore to do that same thing. It'd still be stressed, but you got two stress. You got the immediate stress, the acute thing, and then you got the chronic thing from chronically doing the same stress, which we call training. And the second important benefit or principle of training is specificity. The thing that benefits from training is the thing that you stress. You know, you don't become a better runner by playing ping pong or bowling. You become a better runner by running. And you become a better swimmer by swimming. And you strengthen your heart by stressing your heart. And you strengthen your ventilatory muscles by stressing your ventilatory muscles. And you strengthen your legs by stressing your legs. So it's specific. Benefit depends on the type of stress. If you're running and all you do is run fast, short little things, well, you're going to improve your speed and maybe your economy a little bit. But you're not going to improve your endurance. You know, you got the type of stress. If only kind of stress you do is endurance type stress, you'll improve that, but you're not going to improve your speed. So it's very specific to the type of stress you impose. Then there's a principle called ease of maintenance, which says that you can maintain a level of fitness more easily than you have to work to get it in the first place. And part of that's psychological. You know, if you're starting out and you want to run a 6-minute or a 5-minute mile, say that's your kind of goal, and then you finally do it, then you know you can do it and you can do it again much more easily the next time. And we do this when we taper. We back off on our training with the idea that not only will we maintain our fitness, we'll actually improve it. So, and I always remember this. You know, for people who get worried about what I said earlier about one of the basic ingredients of success is what you're born with. We admit that in the Olympic Games. Because if we didn't admit that people were different, we wouldn't have to have weight categories in weightlifting or boxing or wrestling. We just say, you want to be a boxer? Okay, you weigh 120 pounds. Your opponent today is Igor. He weighs 230. Good luck. You know, we're admitting it, that people are born different. Ease of maintenance is important. Rate of achievement. Let's say you've never trained before, and you're in this kind of shape. 0, here's death. You're just a nonchalant guy. And you start training at this point, and your training involves 3 one-mile runs at 8 minutes each with 10 minutes rest 3 times a week. Well, if you do that every week, your fitness level will do this, and it'll plateau after 6 or 8 weeks probably. You're not going to get any better if that's all you do. It's like doing push-ups. If you do 20 push-ups a day, you're going to get better at doing push-ups. But you won't keep getting better forever. You're going to have to change the number of push-ups you do or how often you do them or something. The same with training. But we got 4 things we can change. We can change the amount of work. We can change from 3 times a mile to 4 or 5 times a mile. Or we could leave that 3 times a mile the same and just start running them faster at 7 minutes. So we got an amount of work. We've got an intensity of work. We've got a recovery between bouts of work. We could reduce that to 5 minutes. That make it more stressful. Or we could leave all 3 of these things the same and start doing it 5 days a week instead of 3 days a week. So we got a frequency, a recovery, we got an intensity, and we got an amount. And any of those 4 things is made more demanding, more stressful, you will improve your fitness level. And it will look something like this, that you started off down here, you stressed your body, you got up to this level. Then you stressed it harder and you got up to this level. Then you stressed it harder and it didn't get any better. That's another principle of training. Everyone has limits. And I'm not saying that you ever reach your absolute limit, but you certainly have seasonal limits based on lifestyle. You know, our college students see it all the time. One semester in the fall, they might have a class every day at 8 o'clock in the morning, 5 days a week. And in the afternoon, they got classes until 2. And Mondays and Wednesdays, they got a lab from 2 to 5. And we do training at 3. 2 days a week, they can't even come out and do the workout with us. And the very next semester, they might not have a class till 10 in the morning. They got all morning to do morning run. And they don't have any labs, so they're done at 2 in the afternoon. You know, it can change tremendously. And even people who aren't in school, it can change their jobs, their demands, their home life, and things like that. So sometimes when you increase the training and you don't get better, it's because of the situation. That's as good as you're going to get under the current conditions. And maybe under other conditions, you'll go right on up to a new level of fitness. But what do? Often, some coaches will say, well, we made it harder, you didn't get any better, I guess we didn't make it hard enough. So they'll make it even harder. Then you start going down rather than staying the same. If you can train this hard and get this fit, and you train harder and don't get any fitter, why don't you back off to that? Do the least possible work to give you the maximum possible benefit. The least work that you can do that will give you the maximum benefit. Not the most work you can do for the maximum benefit. If you want to do the most work, then come to my house and I'll pay you $100 for 20 hours of work to clean my yard. I usually pay $100 for only 10 hours of work, but you like to work, so you'll do twice as much for the same. Here's a couple more principles of training. Diminishing return. If this is where you're starting off and training intensity increasing this way, you're reaching your potential goes up this way and it goes up like that. You don't have to train very hard when you're in terrible shape to get a lot better. You know, you only have to train this hard to get 50% of where you're going. You double that over to here and you sure don't double the 50%. And what that says is, the fitter you are, the less benefit you get out of training harder. I mean, if you're way up here in fitness, just to go a tiny bit better, you're going to have to do some real serious stuff. But if you're in terrible shape, you don't have to do much at all to get big benefit. And I think that's important when you have somebody with an injury or an illness. You'll say, okay, you're not in very good shape because you've had to be out of this. You don't have to train extra hard to try to catch up.